Nepal expands polling centres to mobilise 132,000 temporary police ahead of March parliamentary elections. Madhya's Chief Minister Saroj Kumar Yadav resigns after Supreme Court orders confidence vote, triggering political uncertainty. Nepal observes 34th International Day of Persons with Disabilities, highlighting ongoing challenges and need for year-round support. Kremlin denies Putin rejected US peace proposals as Ukraine attacks Russian oil tankers in Black Sea. New Delhi air quality plummets to severe levels amid toxic smog, raising health risks across the city. And Nepal Premier League cricket intensifies as Biratnagar Kings and Lumbini Lions battle for playoff spots. Hello there, I'm Smita Gising Taman and this is NTV World Primetime News, coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Now the news in detail. Nepal is expanding its polling infrastructure ahead of its upcoming parliamentary elections scheduled for March 5. Nepal's Election Commission has announced a significant increase in polling centres as the number of registered voters continues to rise. 10,967 new polling centres have been added across the country. Under Nepali law, each centre must serve roughly 1,064 voters. This expansion brings the total number of polling centres to 33,194, up from just over 22,000. The Commission also says it has scrapped 93 polling sites and added 75 others, especially in remote Himalayan regions where winter snowfall has already forced communities to move to lower settlements. Meanwhile, Nepal's Home Ministry is preparing to deploy an expanded force of 132,000 temporary police to the logistical adjustments and the security build-up aim to ensure smooth voting in one of South Asia's most challenging terrains. Deep Adhikari, Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, along with 6 others. The charges stem from alleged construction of the Nalin Chowk helipad in Bhaktapur near Kathmandu. According to the special court, the accused include senior officials from the Aviation Authority, a private engineering consultancy, and its chief Bijay Thapa. Investigators claim the project caused a financial loss of more than 134 million Nepali rupees. The Commission arrested the defendants on Wednesday. However, because the indictment arrived late in the day, court proceedings, including statements and bail hearings, will begin only on Friday. The case has intensified public debate over corruption in Nepal's infrastructure sector, especially projects tied to aviation safety and tourism. Nepal marked the 34th International Day of Persons with Disabilities with various programs highlighting both achievements and ongoing challenges faced by people with disabilities. The day, observed globally since 1992 under UN initiatives, aims to promote rights and inclusion. However, activists note that societal attitudes in Nepal remain largely unchanged, with persons with disabilities facing barriers not only in education, healthcare and employment, but also within their own families. For individuals with severe disabilities, the Ministry of Women, Children and Senior Citizens provides support, including placement in rehabilitation centers for those without family care. According to the 2078 national census, around 2.2% of Nepal's population, over 647,000 people, live with disabilities, classified into 10 main categories. Officials say work to improve their lives continues throughout the year beyond the observance of a single day. As the world marks International Day of Persons with Disabilities, Nepal's push for digital governance puts forward a growing concern. For most people living with disabilities, full equitable access is still out of reach. Bijeta Bandari files a story with a disabled-friendly touch.
As Nepal aims to graduate from least developed to developing country status within a year, public service delivery also is undergoing a digital shift. From web portals and mobile apps to AI-powered tools, many state-rendered services have been promised in digital versions. But for many persons with disabilities, the promise of a digital future remains a conceit.
Digital accessibility means that the technology can be usable for everyone. So if they are persons with visual disability, if they are persons with hearing impairment, otherwise if they are the low vision, and those having autism spectrum condition and the intellectual disability.
This includes features like screen reader support, adjustable text size or contrast, captioning for hearing impaired users, and simple clear design for people with cognitive disabilities. Legally, the Act relating to Rights of Persons with Disabilities 2017 guarantees the right to access services, information and communication. Since the law doesn't define the technical standards of websites and apps, much of the public and private digital services in Nepal remain difficult to use, not only for the disabled but also for the majority. Experts and the users say most of the web portals need serious redevelopment and not just quick fixes.
Web accessibility guidelines जुन छ तपाईको त्यो चाहिँ भनेको part of the overall accessibility umbrella भनौं न digital accessibility भित्र पर्छ हैन आफै त्यो सिंगै गाइडलाइन भनेको नेपाल सरकारले अवलम्बन पनि गरेको छैन अहिले चाहिँ सेपरेटली एक्सेसिबिलिटी गाइडलाइन के रे वेब एक्सेसिबिलिटी गाइडलाइन छैन हामीसँग डिजिटल र फिजिकल भनेर चाहिँ छ जुन महिला मन्त्रालय अन्तर्गत त्यो गाइडलाइन आएको छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ रिभाइज गर्नुपर्छ त्यो पुरानो भइसक्यो.
From training developers to setting mandatory standards, early investment can make Nepal's digital transformation inclusive.
I think the policy framework is very, very essential. So we have to modify all the policy framework that is associated with the web content accessibility, that associated with the digital accessibility and ICT policy of Nepal. For those providing services like bankers, like the stock market and the digital purchase and the digital marketing. So these entrepreneurs and these corporate houses should also make all their products accessible for people with disability.
As Nepal accelerates its digital shift, it must cater to everyone. Despite having timely amended laws, tools and standards, missing is the commitment to make accessibility the default and not just an afterthought.
We'll take a short break here. Stay tuned for more. You're with NTV World Primetime News. And now, moving on, Nepal's top hotels and resorts are witnessing a surge of wedding bookings from Indian couples, making the country an emerging hotspot for cross-border nuptials. Nepal's 2023-24 national budget even envisioned Janakpur as a wedding hub for Indians, drawing on the cultural legacy of the Ram-Sita marriage. While that plan has yet to materialize, destinations across Nepal are already attracting Indian wedding hopefuls. An Indian wedding event manager says, though there's no official data, but hotels and resorts remain heavily booked from November to February, India's peak wedding season. Experts note some procedural bottlenecks still need fixing. Many Indian couples say if the ceremony isn't held in Nepal, the country remains their top choice for post-wedding celebrations. Nepal has signed a 34.59 billion yen loan agreement, about 31.7 billion rupees, with Japan for the Koteshwar Intersection Improvement Project in Kathmandu. The deal was formalized today at the Ministry of Finance in the presence of Finance Minister Rameshwar Prasad Khanal. The loan provided through JICA carries a 10-year grace period, a 30-year repayment schedule, and an annual interest rate of 0.2%. The project will build a new underpass and flyover along the Koteshwar-Jadibuti corridor, aiming to ease chronic congestion across Kathmandu, Lalitpur, Bhaktapur, and the BP highway. In western Nepal, farmers are once again facing a familiar and urgent challenge: fertilizer shortages at the peak of the winter planting season. Farmers in Kailali district say they are struggling to access urea fertilizer essential for wheat, vegetables and other winter crops. In Bajani municipality, one of the region's most fertile areas, the shortage is so severe that farmers are spending entire nights in queues outside distribution centers only to return home empty-handed. Local farmers warn that delayed fertilizer use could sharply reduce yields, putting both livelihoods and food supply at risk. Officials acknowledge that limited stock at sales centers means only a small number of people receive fertilizer each day, leaving many without their share. Nepal, which relies heavily on fertilizer imports, faces recurring seasonal shortages. Farmers fear that unless supplies stabilize soon, this year's winter harvest could suffer significant losses. Farmers in Nepal's far west are increasingly turning to dragon fruit cultivation after trial farming showed strong earnings potential. The crop was first introduced 5 years ago by Western Multi Agriculture Private Limited in Maitian of Bhimdatta municipality. With both production and market demand rising, more local farmers are now shifting from traditional crops to dragon fruit, seeing it as a promising new source of income. The US dollar has reached an all-time high in Nepal, according to the Nepal Rashtra Bank, with several other foreign currencies also strengthening against the rupee. The central bank has set the USD buying rate at 143.50 Nepali rupees and the selling rate at 144.10 Nepali rupees. The euro is trading at 166.57 to buy and 167.27 to sell, while the British pound is at 189.43 rupees buying and 190.22 Nepali rupees selling. Other currencies also show gains: the Swiss franc at 178.33 to 179.07 Nepali rupees, the Australian dollar at 93.96 to 94.36 Nepali rupees, and the Canadian dollar at 102.42 to 102.85 Nepali rupees. Rising foreign exchange rates are putting pressure on imports and increasing the cost of living in Nepal, raising concerns for households and businesses alike. International updates when we return after the break. The Kremlin says it's wrong to suggest Vladimir Putin rejected U.S. proposals for peace in Ukraine after talks with U.S. negotiators in Moscow. Russian officials say the meeting was constructive and no compromise had been reached over territorial concessions for Ukraine. The Russia-Ukraine conflict, meanwhile, has escalated as Ukraine launched an underwater drone attack on 2 Russian oil tankers in the Black Sea. In response, Russian President Vladimir Putin condemned the attack as an act of piracy and warned of cutting off all maritime communications with Ukraine if such strikes continue. He also threatened retaliation against ships from nations supporting Ukraine. 5 NATO allies on December 3 confirmed major new purchases of U.S. defense equipment for Ukraine under the Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List (PURL) initiative. At a NATO foreign ministers meeting in Brussels, 2 joint PURL packages worth $500 million each were unveiled, one funded by Germany, Norway and Poland, and another by Germany, Norway and the Netherlands. Germany will contribute about $200 million, Norway up to $500 million, and the Netherlands $290 million, including air defense and F-16 ammunition. NATO Chief Mark Rutte said Ukraine is set to receive up to $5 billion in arms through PURL by year's end as allies continue to increase pressure on Russia. In a significant step towards energy independence, the European Union has secured an agreement to ban all imports of Russian gas by autumn 2027. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen hailed the move, saying they are turning that page and they're turning it for good. The EU's commitment to phasing out Russian gas comes in response to the ongoing war in Ukraine and the bloc's efforts to reduce dependence on Russia for energy. This agreement is part of broader measures to secure energy alternatives and strengthen European energy security in the face of geopolitical challenges. New Delhi's air quality deteriorated sharply on Tuesday evening, with pollution levels soaring across the capital and several neighborhoods slipping into the severe category. The thick layer of acrid smog once again blanketed the city, pushing daily life into a familiar yet dangerous routine of health warnings and limited visibility. India's capital battles this toxic haze each year, driven largely by stubble burning in neighboring agricultural states where farmers torch crop residue to clear fields for the next planting season. Public health experts warn that residents, especially children, older adults, and those with respiratory conditions face elevated risks as PM2.5 concentrations spike far beyond safe limits. Time again for a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. More from International. Schools in India's union territory of Puducherry were closed on Wednesday as authorities braced for heavy rainfall triggered by cyclone Dec.2025 moving across the Bay of Bengal. The India Meteorological Department issued a warning of intense rain and strong winds and called for a complete suspension of fishing operations. On Tuesday, the IMD placed several districts in Tamil Nadu, Tiruvallur, Chennai, Kanchipuram and Chengalpattu under a red alert as heavy rains associated with the cyclone swept through the state, disrupting routine activities and heightening the risk of flooding. Emergency teams and local authorities are monitoring the cyclone's trajectory as the region prepares for further severe weather in the coming days. In Indonesia's central Tapanuli, survivors wade through knee-deep floodwaters after heavy rains last week triggered devastating floods and landslides on the island of Sumatra. More than 712 people have been confirmed dead, with hundreds still missing. The severe weather has left communities reeling, and rescue operations continue as authorities battle both the ongoing floods and the search for the missing. Indonesia, an archipelago prone to natural disasters, has seen an increasing number of severe flooding incidents in recent years, exacerbated by heavy rainfall and climate change. The death toll from devastating floods and landslides across 3 provinces on Indonesia's Sumatra island has climbed to 712, while 409 people remain missing, the National Disaster Management Agency BNPB reported on Tuesday. Search and rescue operations are underway at full capacity as teams work through debris-choked terrain and unstable ground. Authorities say the disaster was driven by days of intense rainfall linked to a tropical cyclone that created severe atmospheric instability and produced relentless downpours. With the scale of destruction still unfolding, Indonesian authorities warn that the humanitarian response will require sustained coordination as many remote areas remain difficult to access and weather conditions remain unpredictable. South Africa has begun administering lenacapavir, a twice-yearly injectable medicine shown to reduce the risk of HIV transmission by more than 99.9%, marking a significant milestone in the country's fight against the epidemic. Kegoratil Afane in Africa is using the event to expand partnerships, explore new procurement opportunities, and promote its own military manufacturing sector. Now the sports update. In the match that have just ended a while ago, in the match that was held under the Nepal's Premier League cricket, which was heating up in Kirtipur, Lumbini Lions have just registered a victory against Biratnagar Kings. Playing at the TU International Cricket Ground, Lumbini had won the toss and chose to field first, sending Biratnagar into bat first. The Kings was led by Sandeep Lamichhane and it had collected 8 points from 5 matches. A win today would have secured their place in the playoffs with 1 match to spare. However, Lumbini, captained by Rohit Kumar Paudel, sat at the 4 points from 5 games before the match. And after this match, Rohit Paudel led Lumbini Lions, achieved the target of 145 runs at the loss of 5 wickets. And now, moving on, the next update. The Hope Championship for amputee football in the Gaza Strip concluded on 20 November after 4 consecutive days of matches, marking a significant moment for athletes injured in years of conflict. Amputees promote their inclusion in official sports activities and restore a sense of normalcy and resilience following intense periods of violence. Many of the participating players lost limbs during previous wars and military operations in Gaza. Organizers noted that the event that took place at a time when the national amputee team was originally expected to compete in the West Asia qualifiers for the 2026 Amputee Football World Cup in Indonesia. The closure of border crossings and the ongoing conflict prevented the team from traveling. And before we wind up, the headlines one more time. Nepal expands polling centers to mobilize 132,000 temporary police ahead of March parliamentary elections. Madhya's Chief Minister Saroj Kumar Yadav resigns after Supreme Court orders confidence vote, triggering political uncertainty. Nepal observes 34th International Day of Persons with Disabilities, highlighting ongoing challenges and need for year-round support. Kremlin denies Putin rejected US peace proposals as Ukraine attacks Russian oil tankers in Black Sea. New Delhi air quality plummets to severe levels amid toxic smog, raising health risks across the city. And Nepal Premier League cricket intensifies as Biratnagar Kings suffered defeat at the hands of Lumbini Lions. That's all for NTV World Primetime News for now. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. This is Smithu Yizeng Tamang. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands.
Reporting for Public Service Broadcasting.
Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance.
Many simply call it Swambhu. For countless generations, it has been a sanctuary of spiritual devotion, a place where the first light of morning touches the prayer flags, and where monks and devotees begin their day in meditation and worship. Swambhu is cherished by Buddhists from all over the world, yet it holds equal significance for many Hindus. This shared reverence creates a rare sense of unity within its sacred grounds.
Long before the birth of Lord Buddha, Sakyamuni, Buddhist tradition teaches that countless Buddhas have appeared in the universe and countless more will arise. Some teachings say that within the entire lifespan of this world system, many Buddhas, sometimes described as 1,000, will descend to guide beings. Among these, it is believed that 1,000 Buddhas are destined to visit and bless this sacred site. This Swambhu Chaitya is said to have manifested during the era of the fourth Buddha of this world cycle. According to our scriptures, that Buddha descended from the heavens and alighted upon Nagarjuna hill. At that time, the Kathmandu valley was not land as we see today. It was a vast, tranquil lake. From within those waters, only the self-arisen Swambhu appeared, standing above the surface like a radiant jewel. When the Buddha and his disciples saw this natural, elevated form, they marveled at its purity and power. What we see today from the outside, the golden spire, the dome, the painted eyes, is not the whole of it. Beneath these layers lies a perfectly pure, self-manifested Chaitya, said to be like luminous white metal, untouched by time. It arose spontaneously for the welfare of all beings. Those who come to Swambhu with sincerity, who bow, circumambulate, or simply offer a moment of devotion, are believed to receive blessings that ease suffering, bring good fortune, and ultimately guide them toward liberation. The compassionate eyes of the Buddha, painted on all four sides, are a reminder that the Buddha's loving gaze extends to all living beings, humans, animals, birds, insects, every form of life. The Buddha wishes that all beings be free from suffering, that they find peace, and that no harm comes to anyone. The essence of the Buddha's message is simple: cultivate virtue, avoid causing harm, and keep the mind pure. If one person becomes peaceful, that peace naturally spreads to others. This is the heart of the Buddha's teachings.
The origins of Swambhunath stretch back at least 2.5 millennia. Inscriptions and centuries-old statues found throughout the site testify to its long-standing presence and its profound cultural importance. The stupa itself is one of Nepal's traditional religious landmarks, crowned by the serene eyes of the Buddha that gaze out across all four directions. These eyes are regarded as a message of compassion, awareness, and peace for all beings. For Buddhists, the stupa and its symbols become a guide toward understanding the teachings of the Buddha. For Hindu visitors, the temples and images of deities within the complex hold deep spiritual meaning of their own.
In Buddhism, each month contains 5 significant sacred days. The 8th day, Ashtami, is considered especially important. On this day, we recite the teachings of the Medicine Buddha for healing and protection. The 10th day, Dasami, is dedicated to Vajra Guru Padmasambhava. The full moon is honored with equal reverence and associated with the blessings of Vajra Yogini. The new moon is dedicated to Mahakala, the great protector. It is believed that worship performed on these days yields vast merit and profound results. The Buddha's teachings remind us that beings have existed since beginningless time, and the cycle of life has no absolute.
Well, first of all, we went to Nepal because we love this country and we wanted to see the environment. As from up, we heard it's very important for the Nepali people, so we want to see how it is and how people, what people do here and how it looks like.
We heard it's a beautiful place to go, and we really should see it. And so I think we just walk up and see all the beauty of this place.
The surroundings of Swambhu offer many places of interest. Pilgrims and travelers often find themselves captivated by the calm atmosphere and the panoramic views over the Kathmandu Valley. The architecture of the complex reflects a graceful blend of Nepali and Tibetan influences. The stupa follows ancient Nepali design traditions, while the monasteries and retreat houses that surround it reflect elements of Tibetan craftsmanship. These two styles together give Swambhunath a distinctive character found nowhere else. Preserving Swambhu is not only a religious responsibility, it is an effort guided equally by historical and cultural commitment. The temples, statues, and inscriptions within the complex carry stories that span centuries. The main stupa, crowned by the 4 compassionate eyes, remains the heart of the site. Monks gather each day to meditate and study. Within these halls, elaborate paintings and sacred sculptures portray episodes from the life of the Buddha and remind visitors of the spiritual traditions that continue to flourish here. The entrance to Swambhunath features a gate designed to convey purity and reverence. Sculptures and painted figures on the gate reveal the guiding ideals of Buddhist philosophy. Scattered around the grounds are ancient inscriptions that preserve the history of the land. Statues of various Buddhas stand alongside images of Parvati and Shiva, creating a space where cultural diversity and shared devotion coexist with harmony. Swayambhunath is one of Nepal's most visited destinations. Its landscapes, spiritual gravity, and cultural richness draw people from around the world. Each year, millions of visitors, both local and international, climb the steps leading toward the stupa. Their presence contributes greatly to Nepal's tourism economy and to the livelihoods of those who live and work nearby.
स्वयम्भुनाथ परिसरमा रहेका स्मृति सामग्रीहरू जस्तै बुद्धका मूर्ति, थाङ्का, मालाहरू, गहना, धार्मिक सामग्रीहरूले व्यवसाय गर्ने व्यवसायीहरूको जीविकोपार्जन भइरहेको छ।
The number of tourists has increased significantly compared to previous years. Earlier, we used to have clear off-seasons, but now we see international visitors throughout the year. However, their spending capacity has dropped to less than what we used to get before. In the past, if a group of